What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the ABJ Podcast. We're here. We're doing this. Another amazing episode. Another one I'm super looking forward to. If you watch the 5 questions with ABJ, this guest was on there. We'll probably talk a little bit more about that setup and how things went down, but came into a show, wasn't there to work, showed up with a friend just to scope out the environment, and now the kid brought in some more people from his amazing school in that New York scene, and is now taking over the tag team division at PPW. So I'm very, very excited for this guy. Hopefully by the time this airs. So full disclosure, we're still in January, but this will air later on. If you're a paid member, you got to see this early, so that's a good thing we should talk about in a moment. But literally just came in as a helper, came in, did what he had to do, set up chairs, set up rings, did what he had to do. And now him and his tag team partner are taking over PPW, putting great shows together. That just shows the work ethic of this person. Before we get into the interview and we introduce them and let them do their thing, the links below support the ABJ podcast by following me on all social media. If it's your first time watching on Facebook or YouTube or anything, mostly YouTube, hit that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button. We are on the quest for 10,000 subscribers to grow this channel and keep doing amazing things and have great interviews. Also, check out the links below for merchandise. If you want to rock an ABJ t-shirt or buy a sticker or anything to help to keep the channel alive, that would be awesome. And if you want that membership where you can see a ton of content before it drops, it's $5, and it's like buying me a beer every month. And if enough people do that, that really helps keep a lot of the bills paid on this podcast and helps me grow. And it's very, very, very much appreciated. We have a ton of 5 questions that are still sitting out there, a ton of interviews that were recorded that you can check out. We're always trying to make it worth your value if you enjoy this style of content and hearing people's stories and hear how they grow and how they develop in their arts and chasing their dreams. My guest links are also below as well. Make sure you follow them on all social media. Hit up their merch pages, buy their stuff, DM them, or comment on their post and say, hey, I heard you on the podcast. You did a great job. Or maybe there's a question that I didn't ask that you want to hear. If you want to see this talent wrestle in your local scene, you have more power than you think you have as an independent wrestling fan. Tag the promotions, tag their name, say, hey, we want to see SEBASTIAN wrestle here. Help get this person get some more opportunities on the scene, and you can do that as a fan. Also, Ruda Entertainment. If you're like me and you can't, win championships, or you're not a good professional wrestler, you can be a dumb mark. And as long as you have the money to make your own custom, you can be a champion too. If you can dream it, Ruda can make it. As your Intercontinental YouTube champion, the workhorse champion, no one works harder. You can get your own custom titles. Or if you want a title but don't want to pay shop prices but want to add some things that maybe that they don't put on anymore, you can get them also from Ruda Entertainment. He has the zinc belts. These are heavier and better than some wrestling independent titles, unless those titles have been made by Ruda Entertainment also. Or you can get these the brass titles, a lot more lightweight and great for kids. So hit up Ruda Entertainment. Also the High Tension Wrestling Network, putting amazing content on the quest for that monetization goal. Go check out their wrestling. They have a lot of cool stuff on that channel, and they also produce and help push out the ABJ podcast on their platform as well. So that's pretty much all I got for my internet can shaking. Let's get into this interview. I'm very, very excited for this one. Let's bring in SEBASTIAN AMOR. What's going on, man?
Hi, how you doing?
I'm super excited. We're getting a different version of you today. You're gonna be a little not as was it Rico Suave.
Let's just say the A today instead of AMOR is authentic. So let's just go with that.
I love that. Tell people who you are and what you do.
My name is SEBASTIAN AMOR. I'm a professional wrestler for about 4 years now, and I do a lot of things. I'm a man of many trades, and right now, wrestling is one of the ones that I want to be successful at.
Awesome. So this is what I'm excited. I want to learn what those other trades are, unless it's something we can't talk about on this website, because I don't know. I'm not judging. Listen, if you're into your thing, I'm going to let you go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I collect many things, but all of them are PG and family friendly.
I love that. All right. Well, even if it's not, I don't judge. Do your thing,
Yeah, I collect rocks. Yeah, I need to be plain. Sorry.
So you said you've been doing this for 4 years.
Yes, going on 4 years.
Yes. Yeah. So before we get into like the thing, you come from a pretty fun school. You come up in that Long Island area. Tell us what school you reside from in the wrestling industry.
So I come from Creator Pro Long Island. Honestly, one of the best schools in New York. Selfishly saying, but honestly, I learned a lot from them, and very happy and very honored to be, not only a graduate there, but still learning and being able to go there.
And the fact that you said 4 years, there's a lot of people who go and they do their wrestling training and they graduate and they just say, I'm done wrestling training. I get my wrestling. Now I'm just going to go on the scene and get my bookings and do my things. And I'm not going to keep doing the school aspect. And when you're in a good school, like a Creator Pro, you stay around because for those exact reasons you said, you keep your skills sharp. You're still learning. There's a lot of people there who come out of that school who go on to do things on television. There's some world champions that come out of Creator Pro Wrestling. And the fact that people still are willing to be students after 4 years, I don't think that's a knock at all. I think that's a huge positive to what that school represents and brings to the table.
Honestly, like you just even like I don't want to name drop, but like recently there's been a lot of success from some of the graduates and other people that came from the school. So it's really cool to like be able to like learn from them and still see them regularly and pick their brain and even learn new things that they're still learning. You know, at the end of the day, we're still learning at like us as people. We still learn a lot in life. So to be done with school and like not go back to wrestling school, it's like, nah, there's still so much you could learn in this craft that you have to like master. And just being like me 4 years in, I'm still a student and I don't think I'm ever going to stop being a student, even 20 years in.
Yeah. And I think that's a great mindset to have. I think some people, like I said, they get that, they do this schooling for a year or 6 months and then they get that first booking and the school says, hey, you can go take bookings, and then they just never come back. And those people usually stay within a 15-mile bubble of their house and you never hear of them. But when you choose a school, I think a good thing to talk about or to look into of why you want to be there and why you want to continue to go there is you look at like, will this take me to the next level? And Creator Pro is one of those schools where, once again, without name dropping, you look at the people who've come through that school who were students and now coaches are now helping running classes and doing these things are still actively there. They're in the same bubble. They're on TV, but they're still very much involved with that school. And that speaks volumes for, like, once again, for that school. And as someone who's going to join a school, that's a reason why you should probably go there.
Yeah, honestly, like it's so cool because we have such like an influx of like new students. Like we're always learning the fundamentals. Like we're always like doing basic things and never forgetting those basic things, because as some people like go on in wrestling, they forget those things, but like they go such a long way. So it's really cool, like to be in that environment and always learning, you know, new fundamentals or like just better stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's dive into these with the first one here. When did you fall in love with the industry of professional wrestling?
So it's funny because like my brother, he was born in like 97. So, and I'm born 99. So like he growing up like had this toy. It was like a toy guitar and it played WWF like theme songs.
A toy guitar did?
Yeah, it was so cool. It was like it had two like handles and everything, and it was really cool. And it played theme songs of like different WWF wrestlers. And I remember playing that like frequently because, you know, as a little kid, you know, I'm just playing with music, playing with toys. And I remember playing that until one day, like I was scrolling through the TV and I hear Triple H's theme song. It was Triple H, and I'm hearing that, and I'm like,
was it a double neck guitar?
Yeah, double neck guitar. It was.
I've never heard of that before. I literally just pulled it up.
Yeah, it was a double neck guitar, and it was so cool to play theme songs on it. And I don't know if it was Triple H or Stone Cold Austin's theme song, but I heard it, and I was seeing the TV, and I heard the theme song. So I was like, oh, cool. Like, maybe it's like the band, right? And I actually just sat down and I started watching it, and I'm like, no, this is not a band. This is professional wrestling. And I put the toy down and focused.
Do you still have it?
Yes. I don't have it on me right now, but I know it's like somewhere in my basement.
That's sick. You should bust that out and keep that as a keepsake. That's what sparked your interest. That's super fun.
Yeah, it was just the music. And then from there, like obviously I saw the wrestling, and then there's one man, 2004. I could not stop watching. And then from there, like wrestling became my love.
Who was that guy? Who was the guy?
I was Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
now, was it because you had a similar look or a similar, like, what made Eddie stand out to you?
He was a Spanish guy on TV, and you know, growing up in private school, I saw that dude, and I was like, yeah, that's who I want to be. Like, he's a standout in front of like a sea of giants, and I want to be that.
Yeah. He was, oh my god, so goddamn. Like you remember how good he was, and then you go back and watch, and then you deep dive and you like research him again. You're like, oh my god, there's so many things I didn't know, or things that I didn't realize how special that what made him. Especially when you learn the business and then you understand what's going on, and then go back and rewatch certain things. You're like, what a goddamn gem he was. Like so goddamn good.
You learn so much because like Eddie has so much versatility. You could watch his stuff from Japan. You could watch his stuff from like ECW. You could watch stuff in Mexico, or like WCW going to WWF. Like there's so much cool stuff. Or like how I like to see it. Like there's the Eddie pre-injury and then Eddie like post-injury, and he changed his style so much that he's still that like high flyer, but also like was smart with like how he wrestled, and that's something that gave him longevity to be successful.
And there's Eddie pre-addiction and post-addiction, and post-addiction Eddie was even crazier, like even better. You know what I mean? Like guy was wild, like lost his whole life and then fought back to not only win his family back, but win the fucking title. Like what a
that's my hero right there.
Yeah, so good. So good.
Yeah.
I love the on current day stuff, the Dom Rhea. Like the other night when Dom, I don't know if you watched Monday Night Raw on Monday, kind of once again we're dating it, but this episode when Eddie came out, when Dom, I almost called him Eddie, when Dom came out with the roses to give them to Liv, I was like, oh, they better keep roses. I want the pipe inside the roses. I want, you know what I mean?
Classic. Like I have to go back to watch that because I kind of like dated myself, you know, with how.
There's a video on YouTube that breaks down the entire Eddie and China to run.
Yeah, so like when I eventually got back to that, like it was so cool. That's why like I use it now in my wrestling because like eventually you go back and watch like what inspires you. So I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to do this. So that's why I got the roses.
I just literally in my brain had a thought where. If it takes off in booking, it'd be amazing. But if you do the whole Eddie thing with Sammy Chaos at PPW, where you're essentially using Sammy to get to the top, and you're like, "I love you, Mamacita," and then she eventually finds out you're a fraud and destroys you.
That'd be funny. But we got Nat Castle. Shout out to Nat Castle.
Yeah. She's amazing as well. But I feel like she would be good heel as well with you of like, he really likes you. You know what I mean? Like, I just think
Sammy's cool. Another New York fella. I love her. She's cool.
Yeah. Sammy's just so versatile where I think she's the beast, but also like she's very funny too. Like there's so many layers to Sammy that I don't think the world has seen yet that I can't wait to see how she grows as a talent. Like so good. Yeah. So what type of kid were you growing up? You said you went to private school and stuff. Were you an athlete? Were you a theater kid? Were you a homebody?
I definitely was not a theater kid. Yeah. I wasn't a theater kid. I played basketball. I wasn't really great at it. You know, that's what, I didn't think wrestling was for me because like the land of giants. So I thought, let me do basketball. So I did basketball until I realized 5'6". There's even bigger people than what I thought wrestling had. Because I realized once you look at everyone in wrestling, we're really not that tall. So yeah, I did a lot of basketball, but it's kind of very rambunctious. I got in trouble a lot. What made me, funny enough, there's one story, and my friend Andrew, he actually comes to all my shows now. But we would play, we would wrestle in elementary school. And there was one time where we had indoor recess because it was raining. We just started wrestling, and I had him on top of the desk, and I was just throwing punches at him. The teacher walks in, and she believed that I was actually beating him up, that we both got detention like for lunch like the next like week. And we had explained to her like we're not actually like wrestling, like
you got worked, kid.
We're fake, like we're doing our thing. Like I didn't actually hit him. And like, you know, wow, that's funny.
I got pro wrestling got me detention as long as a lot of people in my thing. I was the D-Generation Next Generation. So we would go to school and say, oh hell yeah, and suck it, and really didn't know what we were doing. And a lot of kids in my they banned wrestling t-shirts in our school in middle school. You weren't allowed. South Park shirts and wrestling shirts were banned from our school because people were wearing the suck it shirts or the can of whoop ass shirts, and we're like, oh, we can wear those to school, that's no problem. They're like, no, we're shutting that down immediately.
Nah, that's funny. I mean, we grew up in the age of like John Cena, so we were, hey, encouraged, please wear your John Cena shirt, please.
Yeah.
In pride, please.
Yeah, it's so wild how wrestling changed from the Attitude Era to the Ruthless Aggression, like night and day. So crazy.
I was like in that change.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. When did you start pursuing your industry, and how did you get started finding your school and going about that path?
So, I initially wanted to start like when I kind of graduated high school, but I decided to like go into like the culinary field. I started working jobs like in like fast food in the culinary industry, and then COVID happened, and I was so ready. I was so ready. Like the year COVID happened, I wanted to join, and I was ready to join, and that happened. And then as soon as the school opened back up, like I waited a year and I joined in like 2021.
Now was Kratos? Were you going to the independent shows? Were you going to that scene, or like,
That's
how did
all
you?
I knew. Like, I really didn't know like the independent scene. Like, I was kind of naive to it. I only really watched like whatever was on TV or like kind of on the indies. Like, I kind of watched TNA and I was like, oh, some guys are on the indies, and then they made the jump to WWE. But like, all I knew was Creative Pro. I lived in like Valley Stream, Lynbrook area, and that's where we ran all our shows. Like, and they still currently run all their shows. So I just watched them, and from there, like I kind of figured the school was the only place to go because I didn't know anything else. And then once I got into Creative Pro, I learned about like the indies. So
Interesting. So Creative Pro is like a hometown base for you. Like it's super close to your house, and that's essentially was like the launching point.
yeah, pretty much.
That is a match made in heaven. Well,
Yeah.
you couldn't have lived closer to a better place. Like you could. It's so crazy how people can just pick the wrong school or just pick a spot where you're gonna get your money taken, and they're gonna let you stay there for as long as you want, and they're probably not gonna train you much. But that school is like you found like a D1 college right by your house. Like that's wild.
I found a farming ground of like future stars, athletes, and those in the making right now. And I'm happy to be like, just involved with that school and that environment.
Yeah, and you're the perfect example of why I tell people they should go to independent shows. Is like you were going to these shows probably you said for a while, right? You were going to them for a minute, so you were watching these Creative Pro students before they become television people.
Yeah, it was like really cool because like again, one of my coaches like Max, I saw him like at those shows, and now he's on TV. It was like a really good like really cool to see that, and it was really cool to like be able to as like a student under him like learn like what he was doing on that TV level now. So
yeah, yeah, it's what like. So what was the moment of watching your favorite independent wrestler then become your coach, and then watch him become I think they're 2-time now tag team champions, right?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, I think I believe they're multiple. I could be wrong. If they've been champions, loving champions for so long, I can't remember how many times they flip flop. That's the only thing in wrestling I can't remember. Like the only one I know is fucking John Cena and Ric Flair because it's beaten into your neck that they were 16-time champions. But everybody else is like, oh yeah, you've had
and
a
Charlotte
couple times.
and Charlotte
And Charlotte, yeah, Charlotte. I'm very biased. I am a Charlotte fan, where a lot of people say she's a nepo baby, but it's just like I don't know. That's another conversation for another day.
No, she's an athlete. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, she's so goddamn good. Yeah. So, what were the beginning stages like entering a wrestling school and going to those steps and finding your place in this new industry?
Man, it was tough. It was really tough. If I could say one thing about wrestling school, it's not for the weak. And I definitely learned that like my first year. It was really hard. My class consisted like when the guys I came in with was Nick Robles, Jay Macias, and the Sweeper. And we all had our own different like paths into wrestling. But when I saw Nick and Jay, these guys were leagues ahead of me. And it took me like a minute to like really get up to par, even athletically close to like what they're at now. So it was definitely hard.
I've seen Jay a lot at the Sanctuary. He's a good kid.
Jay, love him.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him in a minute. I should probably touch base. You reminded me to touch base. I haven't seen Nick in a minute either. He was doing PPW for a while, and then he hasn't been at the last couple shows. But three really good guys there. So your class is super small, and everyone essentially is still in it.
I mean, let's be honest. Like I said, it's for the week. Our class was bigger, but those are the guys that stayed.
Yeah, they're the four that
stayed. Yeah.
Yeah. That's that it's not easy. Describe, what it to the people who may not be wrestling fans who are listening to this. What is that first week like? The conditioning, the body pain, the hitting the mat.
So honestly, and this is like really cool, I didn't take a bump my first week. They don't want you to do that. It's really about fundamentals and learning like why we're doing wrestling, like the ins and outs of like wrestling in itself. So it was really cool. It was really informative. Like I remember my first day learning under Eric James. Like he was the trainer that day, and it was so cool because like you never get to train under Eric James like on your first day. He's like, "Oh, this is your first day. All right, let's see how you roll." Fortunately, I did the first one right. Unfortunately, the second one, on the other hand, that was horrible. But it was really cool. It was really just learning those fundamentals, just getting in control of your body. So.
Yeah. Now, you said you did the first one right, and then the second one. What I've never trained, but I've been around enough schools and classes and stuff. Because as a commentator with a body disorder that's not allowing me to be a wrestler at any point in time, which I'm fine with. I understand I respect what you guys go through, and I'm 38 years old. I'm not about to go and
38 years young. 38 years
young old. I feel with a disorder. My body is 72. But I go to a lot of classes because I want to learn and I want to experience that. And I want to be able to articulate that in the form of a podcast of what it really means to be in this business. Because a lot of people still think that the wrestling ring is a giant trampoline and it doesn't hurt. And I'm like, no, it's the mat's this big and you're on boards and steel. It sucks. But
sometimes it's this big, or sometimes there's not even pad.
Yeah. It's why I love when they do the spots where they pull off this pad that's a 1/4 inch thick and they slam them on the boards and like they act like I'm like, you've been falling on that all night. Like you literally remove cloth, and I just love that visual. But the I've seen people take bumps and they do it perfectly the first time, and then something happens in their brain where they just, maybe it's the impact, maybe it's the, oh my god, that hurt more than I thought it was going to, and then they do it the second time and they do it completely different, and then the coach is like, hey, I don't know why you changed it, the first one was perfect, and then they get in their own head and they keep doing that bump wrong for the next 2 hours, and I'm like, it's a wild thing to see people do, and I've seen it happen numerous times in training. So when you said you messed up the first one and then the second one was bad, was it one of those situations where you got in your own head?
Honestly, it was more like, and I remember it too, not that I did it wrong. I was like, oh, cool, let me go with my left hand, right? And with my left leg. And instead of doing that, I went with my right hand. And he's like, yo, who told you to switch? And I was like, all right, my fault. There you go.
Yeah.
So.
They're the old NXT, like the Breaking Ground documentary where they were like following people at NXT and they're doing it, and the girl did it perfectly, and then she's another example of seeing it where like they're like, why did like exactly why did you twitch? She's like, I have no idea, and now I can't get it out of my brain, like I'm stuck. I like go take a walk, calm yourself down, come back. Like it's not easy. It's definitely not easy.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy.
Do you think being a basketball player or having a mind state for the industry before coming in helped you at all with your training?
Absolutely not, man. I'm gonna let you know, I stopped playing basketball like around my sophomore and junior year. At 5'6", I realized only Nate Robinson, Muggsy Bogues, and a few other fellas made it at that height, and I haven't seen one Latino yet at my height doing it. So I realized, let me be a wrestler.
You're like Rey Mysterio, more my guy.
Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero, come on now. I didn't lift, so I might be taller.
Yeah,
but I stopped just playing sports altogether. So I kind of like, I got a little overweight in between all that. I was at like 240 pounds at one point. So like, I definitely wasn't
at 5'6".
Yeah, it wasn't cool at all. Yeah, so I definitely lost it. So I'm sitting at like 178 as of this morning.
Well, congratulations. So did you go into wrestling at like 240 or did you lose weight?
No, I dropped like as soon as I knew like wrestling was something I wanted to do. And this was like before even wrestling. Like obviously I'm 5'6", like 240. I didn't look it, but oh man, I felt it because I could not run, I could not walk without feeling exhausted. So I definitely like trimmed down before wrestling. I walked in there at like 190, like 200, like fluctuating.
Mm-hmm.
And then I dropped down to like 160 at one point. And then I got hurt. So I kind of got back up.
Now, was it a major injury or was it like?
It was kind of a major injury. Like I kind of tore my bicep. I went for like a dive.
Ooh.
And yeah, I went for a dive. I got like clipped and I like hit the guardrail. So.
Was it during a show or just during?
Yeah, it was during a show.
Were you able to finish the match?
Oh, hell yeah, 100%.
I love that. I love that, but also hate that. Like, I like, oh man, like
because it was like only a little like torn, so like I didn't really feel it in the moment. I like finished it, continued the day, and then like the next day is when I saw the swelling of like the bruising, and I was like, yeah,
you look like Cody in Hell in the Cell.
Yeah, but not him because it hurt. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't bend my arm. I can't do this.
Did you need surgery, or was it just to let it heal?
Nah, it was a partial tear, so I just let it heal on its own. I did a lot of physical therapy for that.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. How long did it take to recover from that?
So it took. I was so they told me like 3 months, but I was really ready in like 2 months. But I did
Okay.
take like about like 2.5.
Now, is that 2.5 months away from the school, away from wrestling, sitting
No,
at
I
home,
was like,
or
so in that time, that's when I started to like manage, and like I started teaming with Nat Castle. Started learning how to like do all that, and I was just starting Los Toxicos in a way.
okay? So
Yeah,
that is important to hear. Like important. I'm sorry. I talk with my hands a lot, so I'm holding a comb. I try. That's my trick to not do that
you're all
underneath the
good.
camera, and I just like showed I'm holding a comb for some reason. But no, the cool thing about that I love is maybe your wrestling is hurt. You can't do this certain thing. But I think a lot of people when they're in this industry, like, well, my arms hurt, so I'm gonna stop going to the gym. And then the ones that stand out, like, hey, my leg, I hurt my knee, but I can still work out my upper body. I can still do this. I can still do that. For your situation, you're very known for your mouthpiece. You are a very good talker. You're very good at working the crowd, your facial expressions. You're still also a very talented wrestler. But do you think in that time off of those 3 months of where you couldn't do the in-ring, you had to learn to work the crowd more? You learned how you were doing the manager role. You had to sell yourself more mentally than you had to physically.
Honestly, like before the injury, like I got booed and it was cool. Like I felt like, yeah, I'm that dude. Like, yeah, boo me. But like after the injury and during that time, it changed. It was like a different kind of reaction. It was more like we don't want to even hear you talk. Like we don't want to like even give you the chance to like voice what you want to voice.
You were
It
getting the
was
Dom
pretty
treatment,
bad. There, yeah.
which is
There was
good.
one.
That's
It was great, and they would call me Dollar Store Dom, and it was funny. I thought it was
okay.
amazing. And there was one show where it was like my first time like not wrestling at a main like Creator Pro show, but just managing Nat Castle. And at one point they were just chanting like, I don't know if I could curse, but they're
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
"Oh fuck you!" They were chanting "fuck you," you can't wrestle, and it was like I'm managing. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, of course I can't wrestle. Like, this is her match, and it was
Yeah.
like the most I've had like people like in my face. Like, it's cool. It's really great, and I love it. So keep fucking hating me, everyone.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
you're able to focus on the crowd more because you're not doing the in-ring work. Like when Dom has been hurt and he's on the outside and he's not wrestling, Dom's not in the ring as much as people think he's in the ring, but he's there. And he's still finding a way to do what he has to do, and he's not even involved. Like when Rhea Ripley was hurt, she could have easily got off TV for 6 months, but she stayed ringside. And I think that really Britt Baker launched her career from a wheelchair. Like that's crucial. Like I think a lot of people think because I'm hurt, I'm going to step away. But I think those are the moments where you find creative ways to do more, or to learn more, to be like, hey, I can't wrestle, but I'm going to learn. I'm going to pick the agent's brain and sit with the agent backstage and learn more backstage roles. And you know what I mean? Like, I think there's like, that's what sets people apart. So I
yeah.
love the fact that when you were hurt, you didn't stay home for those 3 months.
No, I
That's a
still like
cool.
went to training. I still watched like from like the outside. Like there was still like a lot to learn, and yeah, like there's again, you're always a student no matter what. So like even hurt, you could like sit down, watch wrestling. You could be there, watch wrestling, talk wrestling. Like there's still so much that you could do.
Yeah, I fucking love that. I'm falling more in love with Sebastian over here. What are some? Well, we kind of went over the injuries and stuff. Were there any other setbacks or adversities you had to overcome, whether it's your personal life or in the business at all?
Like everyone in wrestling, like real life jobs always get in the way. So like there's always like times where you gotta miss a date because you gotta work. But like honestly, I've been fortunate enough with the jobs that I worked where honestly I've been able to like do a lot. Like last year to the year before, like I've only like seen increase in like wrestling, opportunity and like matches. So I went
Yeah.
from like having 48 the year prior to like this year almost having 70, or this past year having 75. So like
Wow.
it was really cool. Yeah.
Do you have a goal in mind for 2025? Like, do you want to hit triple digits in 1 year?
Well, okay. So I definitely want to hit 100 because I was basically at 75 last year. So I want to hit 100 this year. That'd be really cool. So if I can do that, that'd be great. If not, then 99 would be right there.
What's more important to you as a talent 4 or 5 for your 5th year going in to have a bunch of matches in a bunch of different places, or be at less places but have more of a character driven story arc?
Opportunity. Honestly, opportunity to see people and like have exposure for myself and like my group. I really just want to be out there and like wrestling. I don't care if it's for a title. I don't care if it's for 20 minutes at the end of a show. I just want to be able to like do what I do, which is wrestling, and be able to have fun and like have that fan who's never seen me see me and be like, oh, I remember that dude. He's cool. Like I really like him.
Yeah. So the character and the name Sebastian Amore, where did you get the character name? What made you go that direction with your personality?
I could give you a whole sophisticated answer that I make up, but I'll give you the short and brief answer of how it actually happened. I had no character. I had nothing. I was just training for like 2 years until one practice. Before a practice match, they said, hey, go out there and give us a minute, talk for a minute. And I had just watched Black Panther 2. So Namor was there. And I was like, I'm not going to call myself Sebastian Namor. That's stupid. That's going to like a Spanish, like obviously there's a connection there, but that's too like right now. So I took the N out and I just said Amor. So I cut, Sebastian Amor promo. And the rest is history. They saw that and they said, that is you. And I kept it. And
did it to play that like sleazy lover boy Eddie Guerrero-ish Dom thing? Like, did that come natural, or is that like some people say it's you, my character's me turned to 11, or is that something completely out of your wheelhouse that like mentally, how do you get there?
It's the people I'm around. Like I see all my friends. My friends like to go out. They like to, like, going out means a lot of things. So I just look at my friends and I really observe them, and I always like to make fun of them. And I'm like, yo, the way you talk to people, it's like, who are you? Like Rico Suave, like what the hell? But I would just like look at my friends and make fun of them. So it was like so easy to just go into that character because you could always just be like, it's just so easy.
So it's essentially your character is you goofing on your friends who are trying to be young men trying to chase tail.
Yes.
I love that. your 5 questions was so good that like once I felt your character, and I even did it at Bruce Fest. I was like, yo, I'm gonna go in the ring and do it. I'm like, stay in the ring, and I let you cut a promo in the ring to everyone in the crowd because I knew you guys could knock that out of the park, and that's why I was like, I'm going to give them an extra moment here besides just what they did in the wrestling ring. I want them to cut a promo. And I was like, hey, any beautiful women in the crowd? And I knew you were going to roast them. You're like, beautiful women? This place is a dump. I can't wait to leave here. I was like, that's my boy.
Like, I wasn't wrong because I left right after that. I swear.
You have to at that point. They're all drunk. But no, I just think like you're the type of kid, man, like, give you a mic, give you a moment, you and your team, you're just you're eye-catching. I love it. It's not the whole WWE I'm playing into a stereotype of my culture. It's you fit the times, if that makes sense.
No, again, I don't want to be a stereotype of like what people assume like Spanish is. Like, yeah, we are loved, but at the same time we're very toxic with it too. So we're just being our authentic selves, and nothing beats being authentic.
Yeah. It's great. So key moments, accomplishments are like peaks for you so far in your career. What are some accomplishments that you look back on? You're like, man, that was a cool moment, or or maybe in that aspect.
I don't want to name drop, but being able to wrestle Rhino was like really cool. It was, yeah, it was.
You took a gore?
Yo, yes, I did. It was myself and Utic Sucio Los Toxicos versus Rhino and the Sweeper at Creative Pro, and it was really fun.
Is that your first name you worked?
Yeah, I think it was, honestly, and that was really cool. Besides all the independent names, that was our first real name that we wrestled.
The only thing as a wrestler, if I'm getting gored, I'm like, I'd have been like, is there a way they could put like a door in the corner? Like if I'm getting gored by Rhino, I want, because when I think of Rhino's gore, I think of when he gored I'm literally having a brain fart right now, but through I don't know, you guys said dating ourselves here, but when he gored him through the SmackDown set, when they had the old
Oh no, that
SmackDown
was sick. That was Jericho, right? That he's feared.
Yeah, I think it was Jericho. But like, if you're getting gored, you have to get put through something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but did you like? What was it like? You're taking a famous person's finishing move.
Like the show prior, at the end of the show, I actually got put through a door. So obviously we can't do it twice, but
you can.
You definitely could have. You definitely could have. But
who was it that got put through a door or put through a table every single week for like a month? I forget, but it became a bit like, oh, they're getting put through a door again. Like,
yeah, but no, I did not go through a door, and thank God I didn't go through a door because that sucks.
The gore sucked.
No, going through a door. Gore also sucked. Rhino's a big guy.
Yeah.
Huge dude.
What was it like picking his brain backstage and putting a match together with him?
A true professional. He's really cool. Really nice guy, but true professional. Like, that's all I can say about that. He's a real true professional. Yeah. I think another great moment besides that was probably wrestling the TNA Tag Team Champs for the titles at our school.
ABC?
No, the System.
Oh, okay.
Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers. That was really cool.
Brian Myers is also very, very in touch with your school for a little bit.
Yeah,
Eddie Edwards Eddie Edwards is so criminally underrated. More people should be talking about Eddie Edwards. So good.
American Wolves are nice. They're fire.
Yeah.
Love them.
So when you're out of school and you have people who are on TV and doing that, what is some advice you get from your coaches of not just being a professional wrestler, but people who have been to that higher profile? Like, what are some things that really stick to you that they tell you? Unless it's private, then obviously keep it to yourself.
Have fun. If it's something I could say, have fun. Make sure you know why you're doing it, and make sure that at the end of the day it's for you. And you make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Yeah. And make sure you're going into this like environment with the positive headspace and knowing that you have people that can support you and also are here just to like be there for you.
So if you're doing things at your school at Creative Pro, obviously everything's not rainbows and kittens and butterflies. If you're doing something character-wise or you're doing something for yourself that's just not working, are they the first ones to be like, hey, I don't see it. Let's or like, can we should probably adjust it or tweak this or add this to your character or you as a wrestler?
I mean, yes and no. Like, they definitely give us we're definitely given our own environment to like grow and like be our own selves, but also given like the tools to like maneuver successfully. Like, I feel like there hasn't been a guy out of Creative Pro that I feel like hasn't been successful or hasn't had their own like, success, whether it be on the independents. So I feel like we're just, I don't want to, toot my own horn, but like,
you're giving the creative freedom for your character.
Yeah, we're giving creative freedom, and from there, like, since we're just giving our freedom to whatever we want. And I feel like,
have you had someone add something to your character that became crucial from one of your coaches?
It's more of the wrestling, honestly. Like, I guess, doing more wrestling, because like from like once you understand the wrestling, the character comes second nature. Like, now you know what you can do as your character, but like it's really been more wrestling and understanding how to wrestle and how to like really engage with the fans. So like once,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it.
What are some things that you add to your arsenal, to your moveset that plays into the character that you enjoy?
Getting booed, whatever I can and however I can to get booed. Any dirty tactic, I love it. Learning new ways to make like someone really hate you is just like really cool.
Yeah. And like I said, one of your tape studies is one of someone who came through your school who just is a master class at being a dirty scumbag heel. So it's like just the small things of like, hey, grabbing the ref, and then while you're turning, you're kicking a low blow behind you, or you know what I mean, or getting an eye poke in there or stuff like that. It's people don't realize too, like being the heel in wrestling and how little time you have to structure things, and not only hard to structure, but like you're setting up a 15-minute match or an 8-minute match in 15 minutes with somebody backstage, but your referee's usually not there for that. And if you're a heel character who needs the referee for a lot of things, referees have to remember like 9 matches throughout the entire night, or maybe or you know what I mean? Like there's a lot going on where people have to all be on the same page, and being a heel with a referee who maybe isn't experienced, like you have to kind of bank that experience, I think, too, because you have to do your thing without being caught or making them look bad as a ref.
I think that's something that I've learned, like, is the hardest thing to do. Honestly, you're right. Like, I don't like not having that. Like, I like having that opportunity to, like, really, like, let's understand what we're all doing. But at the same time, like, when it doesn't go according to plan, it's always easy to, like, really learn in the moment. All right, I'm gonna do something, and if they boo me, it's gonna be even better because now I learned something new. So it's
Yeah.
always, it's like, it's good to do that, but at the same time, like, if it doesn't happen in there exactly how we, talk about it, then it's fine by me. Because, like, honestly, some of the best things that have happened to me have been, like, genuine moments of, like, the fans get involved. The fans make me change what I got to do, and the fans now, like, have my attention because now it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you want me to do that? Well, fuck you, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
So, like, sometimes it's, like, good, but the other times, like, just going out there and having fun and really, like, listening to, like, the fans is, like, it's just so much better.
Now, when you go to certain places, and I'll just use a Creative Pro example. You and Leo are your crew and Leo are two people who have become pretty versatile. I think you guys definitely fall into, I like being the heel role, but there's some places where you're kind of slowly becoming a babyface because it's becoming cool to like the bad guy. So you're still doing dirtier, funnier things, like i.e. Eddie Guerrero, but you're also getting over with the fans. Like I seen you at AXW where you guys are going against a heel tag team, and you guys are also heel tag team, but they like you more than they like them because of the charisma or stuff like that, where you guys, especially another tag team, I love Security Inc. I think those guys are so I love them to death. They're another group that, also Creative Pro guys, correct?
Creative Pro New Jersey, yeah.
Yeah, they're Creator. Is that still, they're not two different names, or they just call it Creative Pro New Jersey?
They're still, like, the Wrestle Pro, Creative Pro. They're all, like, still
Yeah.
under, like, yeah.
Yeah, another group of two tag teams I love, and seeing you guys interact at AXW has been a lot of fun. But, like, even at PPW, you guys were the heel team, but people are starting to fall in love with you guys, even though you're bad guys. How do you adjust that?
I'm always in the mindset of, like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So sometimes the guys are wrestling, like, sometimes they're just, fuck them. Like, you gotta love these guys. So, like, the other
Yeah.
guys, you just gotta hate them more sometimes. So that's, like, the mentality I feel like we're in. Like, facing South Philly's finest, the fans just hate them more. So, like, it's just fun to do that. And even at AXW with Security Inc., like, sometimes you just gotta hate someone a little bit more than you hate someone else.
And you go out and do heel things, and people are just they're encouraging it. They're like, "Yeah, do your thing."
Like, yeah, please do that to him. Like, we don't like him. Like, we don't like that you did that to, like, please do that to him. I love it.
Yeah, it's fun to see that turn where you're like, we come in and we have it all figured out, but now we're becoming the big baby faces, but still doing the scumbag heel stuff, which is, I love as a wrestling fan. I love watching that character tweak a little bit. Like Leo goes from throwing the kale in the air to hitting you in the face. Like, just minor changes to the character. Stan Styles is another one who can flip the heel to baby face in a heartbeat, and it's still the same character. It has the same thing, but just one small change. You know what I mean? Like, just one small turn to the crowd, or the way I present myself as soon as I hit the curtain is a different thing, and it sets a tone that I'm the bad guy or the good guy tonight. And I think you all do that very, very well. Especially, you're like I said, you're not even 100 matches in, and you're finding a way to do that is very, very impressive. Influences or role models, whether it's in the industry or in your personal life.
I've been influenced by Eddie Guerrero. I'm so sorry. Like, that's the one guy when it comes to wrestling that I look at, and, like, outside of wrestling, it's the one dude that has me, like, through and through. If not, probably Derrick Rose. Again, I loved basketball growing up, and
Okay.
D Rose, like the Chicago Bulls, like, I loved watching them.
Do you have any D Rose jerseys?
I got 3 of them, man, and I got Bulls jerseys, I got Knicks jersey, I got Timberwolves jersey because he dropped 50 with them, and it was cool to see that. So it was a really great opportunity. Like, just growing up to watch him. He just retired this past year.
Made me ball. His speech fucking got me.
Bro, seeing his son cry, oh my god.
When Joakim Noah did his speech and Derek's just listening to Joakim Noah's spot, I was like, I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about it. Like, it was. So
I love that.
I was born a Jordan fan. Like, this is Michael Jordan, and this is the sport of professional wrestling. I'm sorry, professional basketball. Here is insert, because, like, I grew up in the late 80s, so fan clubs were a big thing. So it was like my dad would put me in the fan clubs. He put me in the Hulk Hogan fan club. I hated it. I was not a Hulk Hogan guy, but, like, this is this person and this is the sport they're in. That's essentially how I was brought into it. And I'm a Bulls fan because of, and then when they got rid of Jordan, I hated Chicago. I just wanted nothing to do with Chicago. And then when Derrick Rose hit the scene, I was like, I am a Bulls fan again. I'm a proud Bulls fan again. And that dude was so goddamn special. Like him and RG3 were my two guys, and both of them went the same route. And I was like, no, this is our franchise history gone. Like, but I have, like you said, I have probably 6 Derrick Rose jerseys. I have the St. Patty's Day. I have the black. I have the white. I have the red.
So clean.
Like,
I love that green.
Yeah. Do you have one? Do you have a green one?
I've never got one of the green ones because they're like, I didn't want to wear green because they looked like the Celtics colored, but I loved when the Bulls wore them because it was so cool that they just switched for one night, and it was so cool to me. I love that.
Yeah, I'm an Irish kid, so when I seen that green jersey, I was like, I love that. That was my favorite. But yeah, the fact you said D Rose is undersized, a guy who was undersized in the league, not super big, but like, hey, 1 year his 3-point percentage isn't where he wanted to be. The next year goes in the gym and he's the best 3-point shooter in the league the following year, taking the Bulls 82 wins. Like that's insane. Like his work ethic. He's someone who should be studied. Like what a good mind state for a human being. Like always stayed extremely humble and never won a championship, but he'll go down as one of the greatest Chicago basketball players underneath Michael Jordan.
And like one of my favorite quotes from him is, "Why can't I be the MVP? Why can't I be the youngest MVP?" And it's always a mindset I have going into anything. Like, why can't I be the best at like this? Like, what's stopping me? Like, but only me. So like, let me just go for it. So he was really cool. And again, seeing him like at his highs and his lows, like anything's possible. Like
when he came off the bench, was it New York, right? When he came off the bench as like a bench guy and just dominated a game one time, and people were like, "Yo, is D Rose back?" That was unbelievable.
He did that so many times, but he just understand your role in whatever it is, and that's like my mindset in wrestling. Like whether it is, you're the first guy out, you're the last guy out, you're the guy in between, you're the guy like, not even wrestling, setting up chairs. Like whatever you're doing is important, and be the best at what you do when it comes to that.
He's not a look at me guy. He's not a, hey, I'm the best. Look at me. I'm going to tell you I'm the best. Just give me the ball. I'm going to go out. I'm going to be a team player. I'm going to play my role exactly how you said, to the best of my ability. And you just shine of being just a good human, a good teammate, a good role player, and not trying to do more than your role is, but just being perfect at your role. That's a great analogy there. Like how you said, just being that person, like so good.
Yeah,
what a great hero.
It's not team me, it's team we. So like, that's always the mindset.
I love that. Sebastian, you're becoming more of a fan by the second for you. Any other role models or inspirations besides those two?
Well, I got a Yankees tattoo on my arm. So I grew up with Derek Jeter, and it was a good year for me. Derrick Rose debuted on the scene. The Yankees had just won the World Series, and it was cool. So Derek Jeter was really cool. Another guy, he's the captain, man. You could do no wrong. Like that man was amazing.
Yeah. So I love that. Pulling other sports references and not just the wrestling industry. Besides professional wrestling, you're not training, you're not wrestling, you're not tape studying, you're not watching wrestling on TV. What are you doing outside of that bubble as a hobby or an interest?
I like to cook. That's something I really like doing. And besides that, video games. Like, it's kind of cliche, but I really like playing video games. It's something that if I have the time to, if I'm not wrestling or I'm not working out or I'm not working, like I just like to sit down, play video game, and just relax.
Do you have a favorite game or one you're working on currently?
So I have a lot of games. Like me and my friends, like we like to really game. But one that I've been playing recently, and it's kind of low key, but it's not low key. It's pretty popular on Steam. It actually is like the #1 game last year. But it was Lethal Company.
I've never heard of that.
Fun game. It's just you're astronauts in space. You land on a planet and you collect stuff, and you have to like survive like the whole day and not get killed by monsters. It's so simple, but it's so much fun.
I'll have to look into it. DM me that when we get out of here, so I remember to check that out. It kind of sounds like No Man's Sky, where you go to a planet, have to figure things out, build things, survive, and then you can go to another planet and kind of explore.
Someone explained it to me. I've never played Helldivers, but it's kind of like that. I don't know if you played Helldivers.
I have not. No, I don't have PS. I'm an Xbox guy, so I there's some games I miss.
Guy.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm hopefully with this new job, everything I'm doing is through a laptop, and I'm just praying to God it doesn't die on me. Put a lot of stress on it, so I don't add gaming to the laptop because I don't want to destroy it.
If not that, Minecraft's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm an avid Minecraft speedrunner. I think I could beat the game in under an hour, but I always end up going past 3 hours, and at that point it's just a casual playthrough. But
so you're not building and creating. You try to speed run the game.
I try to beat the game. Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a story to the game. I'm being completely honest.
Well, there's like a story, like there's a whole thing to the game, if you want to get into it. But the whole speedrun aspect of the game is beat the Ender Dragon, and you get the end credits. So that's the end of the game technically. So people try to speedrun that.
Okay.
I think the world record is 16 minutes. So I'm not even
16 minutes.
Yeah, you can look it up. There's certain versions that you can run, but I think one version is 12 minutes, but the current record is 16.
I like watching speed runs, even though I never play a game. It fascinates me how people find ways to cheat the developers and even watch. I think there was 2 years ago where a developer watched someone speed run their game and they were like, "Holy shit! I didn't even know that was possible."
My favorite speed run to watch is Portal 2. The way that they cheat this game, clipping out of bounds, going to different levels, it takes me so long to play the game one time, and then seeing people just beat this in 20 minutes,
I think the Outer Worlds is the one I watched. I watched the developer of the Outer Worlds watch a speedrunner beat his game, and he was blown away. He's like, "I'm not patching any of that. That is,
I'm not. Just continue."
Yeah, he goes, "That's awesome that people care about my art so much that they tweak it and try to do." He's honored that people even try that, but it was really cool. Encouragements for a beginner. Someone wants to get into a dream. They want to chase their dream, whether it's pro wrestling, whether it's anything else. What are some encouragements?
If you think about quitting, don't quit, because the last thing you want to do is quit on yourself.
Yeah.
And you're your last line of defense. So if you ever think about quitting, don't quit. Push on, persevere. Yeah, that's a real important one, because there's a lot of times where you doubt yourself and look in the mirror and just think about it. But there's only one person that's gonna either let you continue or stop. So you could either be the reason why you stop, or you be the reason why you continue to be the best version of yourself. So
I needed that today. Appreciate that.
No problem.
I almost forgot the question we talked about at the beginning. What is your favorite type of fan and your least favorite type of fan?
My favorite type of fan, oh man, I'll tell you my least favorite type of fan. The guys who touch my stuff. Don't touch my merch table, please.
Unless you're buying it.
Yeah, unless you're buying it, please don't touch it. I set it up, and I would love you not to have your greasy fingerprints on my 8x10, please. I wear black. I could see your fingerprint. I can see what you just ate too. And the fans I love, honestly, the fans are just there to see me. They're just "Hey, how you doing? I came here to see you." PBW has the best fans. From Anthony to Zoe, I love them all. They're amazing. There's some regular fans that just come up there, and I just want to give them their hug. I want to dap them up, tell them, great seeing you again. Thank you so much for coming here, because you're the reason why I'm coming here.
PBW has a great fan base.
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah. I know you said at the beginning you have many interests besides. So you said kind of pro wrestling, cooking. Is there anything else out there that you're very passionate about that we didn't talk about?
Oh, I brought it up. I really want to be a Minecraft speedrunner. There are times of I sit down and I play this game regularly. You can ask you take any Toxico card ride. I have it on my iPad. I really think I could beat this game. So really playing that game. And besides that, yeah, I really like cooking. It's really cool. It's been really fun. I guess that's another inspiration, by the way. Gordon Ramsay, man, that man.
Is there a style of food you enjoy doing over than others? Is there just food in general you want to learn different
just food
cultures?
In general, something I really want to do is just learn how to cook different styles, because there's so much in different cultures, different culinary techniques. You can make an egg in so many different styles, in so many different ways, in so many different cultures, that an egg just having it scrambled is nothing at that point. You can learn to do it in so many ways.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite dish?
My favorite dish.
You're impressing a lady. You're impressing your partner. You're impressing somebody. You cook your dish. What is it?
So you go to any Colombian spot, you could get anything there. Honestly, any Colombian dish, I love it. I'm Colombian, and a bandeja típica. It comes with rice, beans. You get a nice rack of pork grinds. You get a nice cooked steak. You get plátanos. You get everything. It's so good. It fills you up, and you don't have to worry about like eating until like the next morning, because that'll fill you up.
Do you now? What you trying to change your body, going to the gym, trying to eat cleaner? Is that something too, where you're trying to maybe eat clean but still make it taste good?
Honestly, man, I wake up in the morning, I make my protein shake, and I have a can of tuna. I'm there for the protein. I'm there for the GOP, grams of protein. I don't care how it tastes. However I can get it in, I'm gonna like.
You got to find creative ways to make it better.
I'll add hot sauce. Honestly, like sometimes when I'm in a rush, it's tuna and hot sauce, or it's chicken and hot sauce. But yeah, that's like what it's been recently. Like I want to get back into it where like I could meal prep accordingly and make it, in the most, Chef Boyardee way.
yeah, totally. It is very impressive to see, like, even like I know we're putting him over again, but when Leo is like, he shows up to a show because of his diet. He's a vegan. He eats differently, and he always has food and stuff with him, and he has to do it a certain way, but he has to eat a certain way because he has to take proteins a certain different way. Like that stuff like that, where wrestling and then food is another dynamic to this industry that's insanely interesting, because if you don't do that, you're on the road eating Wawa and Sheets and disgusting fast food or whatever is available.
Now I'm going to throw a flag on the play right there. I will say Wawa has some phenomenal food. I went to a Wawa actually the first time I went to a Pennsylvania, a PA like wrestling scene.
Oh, I'm not saying it's bad. I love all of that trash, but it's not. There's certain things you can get when you walk into a Wawa. You're like, I could eat clean, or they make specialty milkshakes, and I'm gonna drink that instead.
I try to eat clean at Wawa, and I always get a kale salad with like the chicken strips, the breaded chicken strips, and I love it. It's like go to. I get all my protein in that. However, like when we're driving, like Nat Castle, she doesn't eat any meat, so like she's a pescatarian. So there is some constraints into that where we always are like getting some like seafood, and it's super good. I love it. Or like the other day, like we went and we got like halal food, and that stuff was really good.
Now, when you're with someone who is like that, obviously both of those people are vegans. Are they the some like two thing like just don't eat it around me, or I don't like the smell of it, or like,
you know what's annoying? It's not even that. It's like, hey, what do you want to eat? Oh, you pick. No, like you can't tell me that. You're the one with the dietary constriction. Like, I can eat whatever you tell me.
I want a burger. That's what I want.
I'll take the Wendy's or the McDonald's, but like you tell me.
That's gotta be so challenging to find those secondary options on when you're on the road like that. So like the fact that they have to bring their own food it fascinates me. Just fascinates the shit out of me. What are you grateful for, and are you currently happy?
I'm definitely happy, and I'm grateful to be here today so I can live for tomorrow.
I love that. 2025, I know we're recording this at the beginning of the year. By the time people see this, it'll be maybe the third or fourth month in. But who are some people you want to work this year? Some goals, some dream matches, let's speak things into existence of people you want to get in the ring with.
Honestly, nobody, but not in a bad way. Like, I'm grateful for any opportunity to wrestle, like anyone and everyone. Like, bring them my way, please. Like, or I'll go any way to wrestle anyone. I only want to wrestle one dude, and that was Eddie Guerrero. And it sounds kind of weird to say that, but like that's your one guy you want to wrestle. A lot of people want to wrestle their heroes. Yeah. And I want to wrestle him, and unfortunately that can't happen. So like anyone else is like, cool, like I have the opportunity to wrestle and do like what I wanted to do as a little kid. So wrestling anyone would be cool, honestly.
Well, you said you kind of got to work a match with one of your coaches. You got to work Brian Myers.
Brian, like that's cool. Like it was a great opportunity. It was like really cool, like to be able to do that. Like I got goals this year of like what I want to do, but like being able to wrestle anyone would just be a great goal in itself, because you never know when you won't be able to wrestle or will be able to wrestle. So bring them my way or I'll go their way. I'll wrestle anybody.
I love that. When you're also, just another kind of Creator Pro question just popped in my head. I got to see, but one of the ones that stands out for me is that PPW when Jay Lethal came in, and I'm not a wrestler, but I love Jay Lethal, and the fact that like when he goes to a seminar or people don't have an opportunity to work with him or do anything with him because maybe he's not involved in their school or involved with them in a personal level, he came in and he knew that and said, I'm going to chain wrestle everyone who signed up for this seminar and give you 6-7 minutes with Jay Lethal in the ring and just kind of chain wrestle with you and figure out things. Now, when you're a creator pro, do you have that same ability with some of your coaches of like, I got to work and grapple a little bit with Max Caster or this person or that person? And like, because I feel like iron sharpens iron, right? Like you rolling with another 3-year student or 2-year student is fun. But like when you see the opportunity to touch someone who's on TV or has won a world championship or companies have put the stake into, that has to feel different, or you learn something different from that experience.
I'm so grateful, like being at Creator Pro, like you learn from so many people, like whether it be the guy at the Indies, like honestly, someone like who'll come in like CPA, I love him to death. And
CPA is so good.
that man should have a contract. I don't want to, name drop, but like you get to learn from someone like that who's like killing it right now in the Indies, or you get to learn someone who like, I don't want to. I've got to pick this up real quick, but Bryce Donovan, who recently is like a WWE ID signee, you get to really learn from a lot of people. So it's like always like a revolving door of like, who's going to be there this week? Who's going to be there? Who might drop in for open ring? Like, you never know. So it's like, there's the list could go on and on of like people like that I've had the opportunity to like to train with. Someone just coming in because they're flying in. They're like, oh, hey, Creator Pro's cool. Let's just train here for a little bit. And it's like, whoa, crazy.
That's got to be another reason too of once again picking a good school is like, I might skip this week, or I'm going to show up this day and not this day. Like if I'm at a school like Creator Pro or some of the other schools I talked about, like Battle Club out of New York, I think they do cool stuff like Masha and Sante and Prince Ahmed, or even like in the Philly area, Cheeseburgers Worldwide Dojo or Catch Point Wrestling, like with Wheeler and Drew and Tracy. But like, if I'm hearing that, like, hey, somebody can pop in, like I know Mercedes made a post the other day where she just walked into House of Glory and just trained that day at House of Glory. You're like, if I miss training that day and miss an opportunity to pick someone's brain or roll with them, I'm like, I'm showing up to school every day. Like, you're gonna tell me, like, I'm paying rent here, like, because of those schools have those opportunities to have somebody walk in the door, and you never know. Like, that's got to be fucking awesome. Like, hey, today anything can happen. Like, that's got to be a cool, fun experience to pick. Like, and picking the right school, you have that opportunity.
That's like really cool. Like you brought up Mercedes, but like even at our school, right? You'll never know when Chris Statlander might drop by, which has happened, and it's cool because like you never get to see her as often, and it's really cool to get to learn from like someone who's like in the moment killing it right there.
I love
like,
that.
Yeah,
so good.
It's cool.
So there's two people I always say, and I'm not saying like a body thing of putting it out there, but like Ace Austin has the biggest quads on a human being I think I've ever seen. I seen Stat pre knee injury when she unfortunately hurt her knee. As of most recently, I met her at IWTV 100. She has running back quads. Like, she's strong as shit.
And funny enough, you said Ace Austin. Shout out to Mike from Stoked, because he's another guy. Like, he helped me get into like wrestling before, like, and even Gabby Forza, the Nomi. Outside of wrestling, they're like personal trainers. So they really like helped, like, like myself and like other people like that, get their bodies into shape. So it's really cool.
Yeah,
like,
they're phenomenal. There's so many things. Like, you can look at someone like at any school or anything that like, the people can walk in and you're like, oh, I have Caster, I have MJF, I have Stat, I have this person who walked in the door, this person, and you look at them and you're like, all right, there's one thing about you that makes you more special than everybody else. I want to pick your brain to get a tease of that so I can add that to my arsenal. Like, that's like a video game building thing. It's like, oh, I get a stat point here. I get to learn one little gem of that person. It's beautiful. And like I said, it's you hit the world lot, like the lottery of just like living right by that school. That's super sick.
Yeah, I will live and die by the saying, Creator Pro is the best. Other places are great, but from my experience, I will live and die by Creator Pro.
Yeah. Now, is it a thing too where Creator Pro is like, hey, you can go to these other schools, pick up a seminar, or go learn there, see how they do things, and is that something that's encouraged throughout the school, or like,
I mean, I feel like I've never. If that's a place at other places, if that's a thing at other places, that's horrible. But I've never been, or at once, like at Creator Pro, been told, nah, don't go over there. It's more like, hey, wrestling is like a revolving door. There's so much learning to go to. Like, one of my coaches, Aaron Rourke, he went over to like the New England area and was over there for a while learning at that chaotic area, New England area, and came back an even better wrestler.
Love that.
Because you're learning from like other people, having the opportunity to learn.
A different culture.
Exactly.
UK wrestling is. I went there for All In, and it was the coolest fucking thing of all time. Like once again, like growing up or knowing that the local scene comes through the Northeast, whether it's Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Ohio, and most of that local scene in those 4 states created AEW, and those people are wrestling in bingo halls and small venues for 30 people, 15 people, 11 people, a couple hundred people, and then they sell out Wembley Stadium. Like to be a part of that as a person in this industry or just a fan was super, super special. Like watching Eddie, who wrestled in for 12 people, walk out during the fucking stadium stampede covered in blood and the entire 80,000 strong go crazy for him, and knowing that he came from humble beginnings in New York to fucking selling at Wembley, that like that's why I love really AEW as a brand. It's just like they're the underdogs who made it, like are making cool moments. Like I love that company and the people in it.
I selfishly also love them because I can see them.
Yeah, I'm not saying WWE's not the same thing. Like obviously fucking Seth is a backyarder who worked his way through. Like there's all those success stories in this business, and there's no tribalistic when it comes to the brand, but it's a little different when you've seen when you watch the independent scene and you watch Stat become the, she beats Orange Cassidy for the Independent World Championship, and now she's on TV wrestling for the AEW Women's Championship. It's special. It means more because you've watched the progression and the growth. And that's a huge reason why I interview people like you, Sebastian, because it's only a matter of time before I'm doing the same for you and seeing you on TV winning gold with your Amazings table and your team. And this is why I like getting people earlier in their career. I appreciate your time so much. Where can people find and support you?
They can find me everywhere at AMOR. They could find me on YouTube with my friend Utic Sucio Los Toxicos at Sebi and Utic. You can find me anywhere in the New England, Northeast, anywhere, honestly. You let them know and I'll be there.
I love that. You're killing it. I'm proud of you. I did DM your tag team partner for an interview. He's getting back to me soon. So I will have eventually each member of the Los Toxicos. If there's anyone that you're listening that you want to be on the ABJ podcast, please reach out. You don't have to be a professional wrestler. That's not the only requirement. If you have a story to tell, if you're chasing your dream and you have an art and you want to come talk about it, I don't care if you're 3 minutes into your craft or you've been doing it for 15 years. Everyone has a story, and I would love to give you a platform to tell it. Hit the links below to support myself, my guests, Ruda Entertainment, HCW Network. Check out Sebastian. Check out Creative Pro. Check out these amazing promotions that support Sebastian and give him a place to do his art. That's going to do it for us at the ABJ Podcast. We'll see you guys next week. Here's some music by the Converse Kid. We're out of here. Bro,